and welcome to my studio. My name is Noor and I am the face behind Studio Nora, and this chaotic mess is my studio. By day I am a teacher, so right now I have my last weekend of holidays, and in my free time I like to knit, sew, play D&D. I naturally dye fabrics and I do eco printing. I sing, I draw, I illustrate, I enjoy doing yoga. Let's just say that I have a very broad scheme of interests. But basically all of them have to do with creativity and making things with people, as in Dungeons and Dragons, or alone when I'm knitting or sewing or illustrating. So I'm starting a podcast. Why a podcast? Well, I have one sewing friend who was a friend before she was a sewing friend, but I don't really know anybody who knits, and I follow a lot of podcasts here on YouTube and a lot of makers on Instagram, but I find it very difficult to engage on Instagram and also on YouTube. I am that friend who is an awkward texter, and I'm not all that good at calling either. And I experience the same thing with trying to engage on YouTube or Instagram, because I always feel I'm never sure if I'm intruding or not, or if what I'm saying is at all helpful. And since I have been remote teaching last year, I have practiced staring at a camera. So I thought, why not? Also, I think that a podcast would help me to get out of my sewing rut, because in Dutch we say that you need a stok achter de deur, which basically means that, I need some external motivation to get stuff done. And I have been in the midst of sewing a Harriet blouse, which is a lovely pattern, but I am, let's say, 3/4 done, and I just can't seem to continue. And apparently also I cannot start a new project. So she's just, well, you can't see her, but she's on my mannequin, not doing anything. And I thought if I start a podcast, I can not only show my knitting, but also talk a little bit about my sewing and show stuff that I've sewn for which, I need to sew. In general, I am very concerned about sustainability, and I don't want to make for the, just for making something and being busy. But I do really want to make this Harriet blouse. I need blouses in my life. I've sewn blouses before. I'm not really sure what the problem is. It's just, I stopped sewing them. So, I would like to talk a little bit about my works in progress, my finished objects. I have one favorite tool that I want to share with you today. And I want to start by telling you a little bit about my knitting and sewing journey. So I started to sew in 2019, and I've never been taught. My mom taught me the basic sewing techniques, how to work your sewing machine, straight lines, all that. But I just kind of started with an all-well box top and took it from there, and pretty soon I made my own jeans and my own coat, and YouTube kind of helped me out there, some sewing books, but I learn best when I can just kind of look things up and see some people doing them, and then kind of, trying to do that too. I started knitting Oh, when did I start knitting? I started knitting in 2020 at the beginning of the pandemic, which feels like a very long time ago and also not that long at all. But I'd made some wonky hats and I did some crocheting because I never thought that knitting was something that I could do. But I found Melody Hoffman on YouTube. And I saw that she had shared a simple sock recipe, and I just kind of thought, why not? So I knitted some socks. I still wear them, even though they're pretty grubby and not at all. The gauge was, not where it should be. And after the socks, I just dove in with my very first sweater. I chose the Dreyma sweater by Jennifer Steingas, and I'm wearing it right now. It has some color work. It's a top-down construction. That's the back. And the middle collar doesn't really show up. I should have thought about contrast more, but I really like blue, and this light blue is just, it's lovely. And, it fits. And I wear it a lot. Because my studio doesn't have any heating, so it comes in really, really handy. So it's I made it in Lettlopi as prescribed by the pattern, and I've got no clue what the colors are. It's a heathered grey and blues. I am drinking some tea. It's white tea. It's called White Delight, maybe, in this beautiful mug. It's blowing up a little bit. That my pupils lovingly call a vase, and I got it in England, in Boscastle, which is in Cornwall or Devon. No, it's in Cornwall. I visited Cornwall in 2019 with my mum, and we like to go to England every year, but a certain pandemic has stopped us from going. Also Brexit, So, finished objects. Well, this is a finished object, but it's been finished for a long time. I also finished half of a pair of socks, which are these. And they are the Rustic cable sock by Inge from Knitting Traditions. It's the first time that I've tried cables in a sock, and it has I believe her grandmother taught her how to do this heel. So it's the first time I've done this heel, and I really like it. I knit them on fixed circulars. This is also a work in progress because the other one is still on the needles. So I knit them on fixed Chiaogoo 2.25 millimeters. So that is, I think, an American size 1 probably. And I cast them on as my New Year's Eve cast on, and I finished them in 3 days. I have never knitted a sock that fast. My first pair of socks took me 2 months, I think, at least. And this one I finished I cast it off on the 4th, so 4 days. I did misread the pattern a little bit, and I've made them quite shorter than they're supposed to be, because I just misread. But I thought that this bit had to be 10 centimeters, but it turned out that it was without the cuff. But they still fit really, really well, and they're just high enough to come out of my Dr. Martens, which I like to wear. So that's really good. I'm really happy with them. They are knit with onion nettle sock yarn, which is 70% wool and 30% nettle fibers. It's really nice. The only thing that I did not know is that it's, because it was a gift, it's superwash wool, and I think you call them like rustic. Like, I like wool, that feel of like proper scratchy wool. And these are really soft, and I hope that it works out fine, because I also have a call for help. Superwash wool. So from what I understand is that it's treated to get rid of the scales of the wool fiber, so that it doesn't felt and that you can wash it. My husband really wanted a knitted sweater, so I said, sure, let's go find some wool so I can make you a sweater. And he picked some, what is it called, Malabrigo, the Uruguayan wool, and he really liked this color. And I said, sure, let's get it. Let's make you a sweater. And it's superwash wool. And I had heard that superwash wool grows when you wash it, which is fine because I knit it. It was quite fitted when I was knitting it. I had made a swatch. I washed the swatch. The swatch was spot on gauge after washing and blocking, so I thought I'll just knit it a little bit tight and then it will be fine. Reader, it was not fine. It is way too big now. I think it grew like 10 centimeters in the body and the arms as well, and that is not a problem because it's knitted top down, so I can just take a little bit off the sleeves and a little bit off the body. However, the problem is that the arms so this bit, it also grew so much. So dear internet, if you have a magical solution for me to shrink this sweater, I would dearly love to hear it. I don't have a dryer, but my mum does, so I already asked her to put my swatch, which is just knitting around like 10 centimeters, through the dryer with her towels to see if anything will change. She texted me that it came out looking okay, so the texture was still fine, but I have to go by and do a new, I need to measure it to see if it actually shrunk, because, you know, I can deal with it being too long, but the arm's it looks ridiculous. And the poor dear said, no, but I can just wear it in the house, it'll be a house sweater. But I spent, I don't know, 50, 80 hours on this sweater. It really took me a long time to knit, and I don't want it to be reduced to a house sweater. That's just ridiculous. So yeah, that is my plea for help, and also my realization that superwash wool might not be the wool for me. I have more finished objects, but I can't show you them because I gave them all away. Before Christmas, I had quite gift knitting fury, so I made the Spiritual Guardian Cowl, which is a pattern by Cat Weaver, and I gifted that to my mother-in-law. I made 2 Moonlink cowls. I forgot who designed them, but I'll link it in the drop thingy below. I made 2 of them, one with superwash wool, but for a cowl it doesn't matter if it grows a little or not, for my sister-in-law, and one with a sock yarn, alpaca with, I think, polyamide or something, held double with mohair It's so soft and squishy, and I gifted that to my mum. I made my dad a beanie. What else did I make? Oh, I sewed up the perfect like chill outfit for my nephew. He is 1.5 years now, and I just made him some sweatpants and like a very nice sweater from the same fabric with like contrasting bits and bobs, and they fit. And his parents love it, and he wears it. So I think in baby terms, that is a win. So yeah, those are my finished objects. Some wins, all the gifts were very well received. And this sweater, you guys, I mean, I love the color. I don't know if you saw the color really well, but it's like, it's green and blues and purples, and that shows it really well. It's just lovely. My husband loves the colors. It's just that it doesn't fit anymore. And we're about the same size. I'm a little bit smaller. So it's also too big for me. And I just, help me, please. All right. There's one more thing that I made that I'm really proud of, which I'm going to get right now. Hold on. So as I mentioned, I make project bags that I sell in different sizes, but I also do a little bit of eco printing, which is sort of natural dyeing, but instead of making a dye bath, you use, well, in my instance, leaves to kind of permanently print them on the fabric. And last fall I went to my local park and I collected all the like really bright red leaves to try and print with them, and this is what came out. I really love it. So this is the front, and then that is the back, and it has a base, so it has a nice base, and then that's the interior. But I really love this big bold leaf, and the funny thing is, like, the leaves were bright red and they gave off this it's like brown with like yellow bits, and I really love it. But I think I stored some of the leaves in the freezer, and once I get the time to prepare more fabric, I think I'm gonna try using some modifiers after the dyeing or the printing to see if I can maybe get them either green or a little bit darker. So maybe I need something like an iron bath afterwards. I don't know, we'll see. I'm not gonna show you all my project bags. They're all my Etsy, and they're nice, but but I really love this one. I think it's so cool, and I wanted to keep it myself, but I have a lot of project bags already, so I just thought I'd give somebody else the chance to snag it up. So that is my last finished object. Okay, I'm going to drink some water. No, drink some tea. And talk about my works in progress. Okay, so the first work in progress you already saw. There are the socks, and I actually have them in this project bag, which is from Studio Solas, and that's a little one-woman show from the Netherlands, and she dyes her own yarn, and she also eco prints. And I love her yarn. There are many things that I've made in her yarn, and she also has like fully organic yarn and wool from like waste product wool. And it's really, really cool. And I love natural dyeing and doing things in a, sort of sustainable way. So the socks are my first work in progress. My other work in progress are in this was my first foray into trying to print with leaves. It was less successful. The back is okay, but it's not super visible, but it's still a lovely thing. So I am making another Spiritual Guardian Cowl by Cat Weaver, but this one is for me. So let's sort all this out. And it looks like this so far. It's a little bit more moss green than you see it right now. And I'm making it in, I'm super organized, Knitting for Olive. Knitting for Olive Merino. In the bottle green, and it's fingering weight, I believe. And then I'm also using this. It's mohair, and I never knitted with mohair before, and I never bought anything with mohair, but it's just, it's so soft. It's ridiculously soft. So I'm really excited for it, but somehow this is going a lot slower than when I was knitting the one for a gift. But I guess there was a deadline, and nothing works like a deadline to make you speed up on something. But I'm really enjoying knitting on it. The pattern is great. I really love watching Cat Weaver's podcast, Heather and Hops. I think she's just so nice and relaxed, and the podcast is, I just love watching it. I only recently found it, I would say like 3 months ago, so I have all this content to watch, and it's great. And what I really love is that she named it after a spell in Dungeons and Dragons. And you guys, I'm so excited that there is a niche where knitting and D&D combine. It's my favorite. I really love playing D&D, and when I am not DMing, so when I'm not leading the game, but I'm playing my own character, I need some knitting with me. I always knit when we play because I get distracted easily, and if I have to wait for my turn and I have nothing to do, I just lose track completely. But when I have some knitting, preferably some stockinette or something, it's great. I can stay on track, I can make notes. I'll put my knitting down when I make notes, but the combination just works for my little ADHD brain. So that is one work in progress. I have one last work in progress, or a whip, that lives in my big sweater bag because it's a sweater. It is the Little Twigs sweater by Mandarins or Melody Hoffman. And I am quite far. I have knitted, look, one sleeve, two sleeves, and oh god, what's happening? This much of the body. It's the first time that I'm making a bottom-up sweater. And I'm just on the boring part now, where it's just stockinette round and round and round and round. And I still have quite a bit to go before I get to the cool part of the pattern, which is, it looks like this. So little fees or twigs, I guess they are. But it's going really well so far. I am knitting it in, I have a bow band somewhere, hold on. I am knitting it in Studio Solas Merino DK. Is it? Yeah. And it's this lovely blue, and yeah, so you can see it well. And I think it's just lovely. It smells really nice, not sheepy, which I love as well, but it's been dyed with indigo, so I guess, you know, it loses its sheepy smell, but it's just lovely and squishy, and I really like it. Yeah, so that sweater is just, you know, plowing along, and I really hope I get to the fun part soon, because that is a nice segue into future plans, because I have decided that I can really only have one sweater going at the time, because otherwise I will start 100,000 sweaters, and I only have one big sweater project bag for myself by design. I have more in my shop, but I'm just gonna keep one big sweater bag, because otherwise I would start all the sweaters all the time, because I really love wearing knitting sweaters and wearing sweaters, because it's, you know, cold up here right now in my studio. Let me check. It's 12 degrees, because there's no central heating up here, and if there's a storm, like, it just goes through the studio. It's a bit sad, really. But let's talk about plans. So my plan for knitting is to knit the another Jennifer Steingas pattern. It's a sweater and it's called Vintersol, and I already got all the yarn. I have Knitting for Olive Merino again, and I'm going to make the body in this color. It's a blue dusty aqua, and then as a contrast I have this raccoon, which is gray, and then this oatmeal, no, it's called powder, and then most of the body is going to be this, and then these are, I'll put a picture on the screen of what it looks like, probably there. This is going to be for the dark bit, and then this is the light contrast. I was a little bit worried that there wasn't enough contrast in this gray. This is a gray and a blue, because I like blues, and I think I might have made the same mistake with this blue in the middle that you can't really see, but I hope it works out okay. I'll knit up a little test and see how it goes. I'm going to hold it double. That's what the pattern calls for as well. Because this is, well, I would say light fingering, because it's 250 meters per 50 grams. That's 500 meters per 100 grams. Is that still fingering, or is it light fingering? I don't know. I'm gonna hold it double and see if I can get gauge. So I'm really excited for that. Okay, so those are my plans. Also, my plans are, of course, finish all the whips. I think the socks are going really fast, so I can cast on another pair of socks, and then I'm gonna focus my attention on the sweater and the cowl. I really want to wear the cowl because it's so nice and soft. Just like mohair is just, it's magical. So I also would like to talk about my favorite tool. My favorite tool, I consider myself heavily influenced by Rebecca from the Chiaogoo podcast. If you haven't seen that podcast, it is great. She is Scottish, but she lived in the Netherlands for 3 years, and Chiaogoo is Dutch for somebody who is very creative and does all kinds of stuff. And she talked about these Chiaogoo needles. They're 100 inch, no, not inch. They're 100 centimeters circulars, fixed, with nice long needles, and they have made a huge difference to my sock knitting. I used to work on tiny, like the 9-inch circulars before, but they really hurt my hands, and these are just going so fast, and because the needles are so long, it's really nice to work with. So they are a little pricey. I bought these for I think 11 euros, but they are worth it. They are so worth it. It's ridiculous. It has made such a difference. So yeah, those are my favorite tools of the moment, and tools that I would recommend. If you have any advice on what to do with my cursed sweater, the Superwash sweater, please, I need all the advice. I'm gonna try and see if the dryer did anything to my swatch, if it possibly shrunk. I'm gonna maybe just try to soak it really hot and then block it again, but really squish it. I don't know what to do. I tried to look it up and the internet just basically told me, yeah, it's not going to work, but maybe you know something that will work. I hope so. I will link all the things I talked about in the box thingy below. So you can see what I was talking about if you want to. And yeah, I hope to see you soon. I am not a fast knitter by any means, so I'll probably make a new podcast in about 2-3 weeks. I might have some sewing to show you. I really want to finish that. Oh, I really want to finish that blouse so I can just continue with making stuff for myself. Also, my grandmother she will turn 91 this year, and she is the most fashionable person I know. She's super elegant, super down to earth, and she actually requested for Christmas, or as a present, well, not as a present, she intends to pay for it, but I will not let her. She would really love some culottes. And I have made the Winslow Culottes for myself previously, I think 2-3 years ago, and she really likes them, and she wants a pair. So I'm going to make those for her. My grandmother is fiercely independent, and she doesn't want any gifts, or, it's really difficult to get things for her because she already has everything. She's lived 19.5 years. That's a long time to get her stuff. So yeah, I'm really happy I get to sew those up for her. So hopefully they will be finished, and either I'll show you the pants or I'll show you a picture of my fashionable grandmother wearing some Winslow culottes. So yeah, that's it. How do you finish a podcast? I don't know. I really don't know. The funny thing is, there's basically two fears, right? What if nobody watches it? And simultaneously, what if people watch this? It's a problem. Well, it's not really a problem, but So yeah, I hope you enjoyed my little foray, my little ramble. And I hope to see you again in a couple weeks. And yeah, stay healthy, keep knitting, find some time to, just take some time for yourself and do something you love. And that doesn't have to be productive at all. You can just frog something, draw a little thing, read a book, do something nice. That's my advice. Anyways, and I will see you in 2 or 3 weeks, hopefully. All right. Bye.